I love creating original characters, and especially kidnapping. I mean, peacefully showing my OCs to my friends. You probably have some sort of original character if you're watching this, or maybe a whole class of them just waiting to come out. So today, I'll fix that problem by dragging you through my whole character design and illustration process. By the way, I'm Sarah, and let's get into it. Before we even start drawing, we must have an idea of who our character is. In this case, I'll be drawing a guy with a sunshine board personality, aka a happy innocent guy like N, and he's supposed to be Clint's, another OC of mine's best friend. And his main shape is stars. Other extra details I wanted to share, he's an artist, he likes dogs, he's a VTuber, he hates NDAs and hodges shills. And finally, throughout this video I might either call him Henry, his real name, or Starboy, the nickname I've been using for the longest time. Now that that's figured out, you think you could already start drawing? You're wrong. We first must gather a lot of references, from outfits, vibes, faces, hair, you name it. But we need to have references so that our design is accurate and that it's 100%. Because you don't want a crappy design that represents a culture badly. Just imagine the amount of Twitter drama you'd get. Now that we've gathered references, we can finally start drawing. For him, I already had some traditional sketches and an idea for his outfit and color scheme, as he's been on my mind ever since I created Clint. I usually do those traditional sketches to get the hang of the character fast, because I find that if I do it digitally, I let perfectionism take over. For him, I also designed a cuter, shapier, and more anime version. Then, everything about the process from there is pretty self-explanatory, but there's something I haven't told you guys. I am not a professional in character design. I just have an absurd amount of free time and an obsession for my OCs, which means that you should take my word with a pretty big grain of salt. Now, where were we at? Oh, look, the designing is done. Now let's make an illustration of this. Oh wait, you actually thought I would start drawing, but no, procrastination is the main thing in my mind. So I gather a bunch of references before even touching the pen, which was a double-edged sword, because while it helped me land the vibe early on, most of the references ended up being useless because they were too far from my final idea. As always, I start concepting after this. This illustration is supposed to be a mirror of my last illustration. It basically has mirrored values and the way they're looking at, but also their reactions. It ended up being the opposite of what you expect based on where they are. Like, Clint is in a gorgeous flower field, so you're expecting him to be happy and dancing. But no, he looks unamused. And you expect a slightly more unamused face from Henry, but he's dancing and smiling, so yeah, reversed. Concepts for me take a long time, because I try everything before landing on something, which also means they're pretty loose, so don't get too complicated with concepts. For this, I think about who the character is and the situation I'm drawing them in. This part was done in Ibis paint, but now for the sketch, we'll jump into Clip Studio Paint. Now onto the sketch. I literally start by upscaling my concept and fixing all the proportions and stuff. I also take some liberties by changing something from my concept, like the mouth and the arms, all to increase the flow and the emotion. If you have been paying attention, which you better have, you may notice that this outfit is different from the ones from earlier. That's because Henry's design has been going through quite some changes. Like, originally it was an academic vibe, but then I don't like it, so I changed it again for the illustration. Also, the place that he was in and the night sky didn't really fit the going out outfit, so yeah. The sketching phase here is quite fast. There's no reiterations, no undoing, just pure sketching. Then we get into the most mid part of drawing, line art. For this, I hop back into Ibis Paint because I draw on a screenless tablet because I'm poor. And I have Ibis on my iPad, where I have more control of my lines. Then I actually start lining. I try to keep my lines smooth with no line weight at first. Then I do a cleanup by making forms that are together be separated by thinner lines. Important forms or forms that are closer to the camera are separated by thicker lines. Now, coloring is simple. I just use the colors we pick in the designing process and bucket tool them in while keeping each part separated in folders. By the way, if you've come this far, please comment with light blue hearts and star emojis below. Thanks. Then, onto shading. The best part of the process, my love, my dear. I love shading. I use pre-separated color layers, and for the skin, I use a peach, yet slightly gray color to do all the shadows. For the skin shadows, I start with an airbrush, creating gradients and form shadows. Then I use hard edges for all the hard forms and cast shadows. Finally, I go in with a blue or any color that is very present in the environment and airbrush in some slightly big shadows. Then, with the same brush, I choose more saturated orange or pink in the skin edges. For all of the other parts, minus the hair, the process starts mostly the same, except for the hues of the shadows and the way I do hatching. Hair, on the other hand, is way harder, but I'll try to break that mess down. As you can see, I didn't add any folds nor hair pattern things, lines, I don't know. I make them with a multiply layer. Then I add a multiply layer and draw in all the cast shadows. Then to finish with multiply layers, I make one and draw these weird ovals that I blend a bit and add hatching based on the direction of the hair. But we're not done. We add an overlay, screen, or add layer with again the most prevalent color in the environment to the darkest part of the hair with an airbrush, obviously. After that, in another layer with any of the last three blend mode, we add skin colored fade to the hair and the bang. Finally, we add another normal layer, which we create highlights with an off-white. These highlights for me have this Hyundai logo shape. Was that clear? Hope so, because you will not get that mouthful again anytime soon. Finally, back with Lineart. I, as the masochist I am, painstakingly not make my line art softer by using a darker version of the darkest color in the area. Then again, with enough black, we create a little dot for the eye highlight and then make another one up on top with enough white. Now that I have finished working on our character, I start doing backgrounds. Most people hate backgrounds, but they are pretty nice, especially when you get to draw one of your favorite things ever, space. Not gonna lie, I committed an unforgivable sin while making this background. I traced. Yes, I know, how could I? Well, anyways, this background was painted rather different than how I worked on the art. It was a chaotic, undo and redo process that I found oddly enjoyable. This background is a beach at nighttime with a starry sky. The reason why I chose this place is because Starboy, or Henry, loves stargazing. Very creative, I know. As you can see, the whole drawing was based on who the character is, rather than trying to just feel a theme. For the grand finale, I had a bunch of adjustment layers, remembering the focal points, the values, and finally, we're done. Thanks for watching till the end. Bye!